feel pretty proud of myself this time, this go around, because this was like the quickest that I was able to like do a deep dive.
Oh, right.
Synthesize everything and kind of bring it out of like, what do we want to talk about? What were we like? What am I thinking? How, you know?
Well, and being
helps.
able to decide, hey, this is what we're looking at, and then have it, having like done the research and everything that much quicker.
I'm stoked about this one because there's a lot of cool people in this to talk about.
I'm
Lots of
excited
cool people.
About
lots of spider webbing.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, I think this will come up later. But I'm excited about the fact that this album feels like, in a weird way, kind of like it was a little bit forgotten for a while, but it really was a big turning point for a lot of artists from the 70s disco scene into like kind of the 80s, like.
Yeah, it's very much forgotten about. It's like
it was out. I think it was like out of print for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like until the early 2000s or something.
Yeah. Part of that is, we'll get into it. Okay, but yeah, it's part of it was label things, and part of it was personal things with the people, and
Ryan,
Scott. Those are our names,
but the other way around. Okay. I'm Scott.
Yeah. I'm Ryan.
And this is Your Dad's Record Collection, an 80s album retrospective. Ryan, how are you?
Good. Very good. I'm excited.
You stayed up too late last night.
I did. I've had 2 cups of coffee.
Oh, that's it? I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah. Well, the heroin shot
was
that's what really woke me up. Just kidding.
Yeah. That's
I don't want to joke about that
Breakfast
anymore,
of Champions.
Yeah.
You also played a show this weekend.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah, how'd that go?
That was great. Lots of fun. Got to play with another local band, Poncho.
Oh, yeah.
Pancho?
I've not been to one of their shows, but I've heard
they're
great.
good. Yeah, they're good. Let's see. And then Fern Spores. Do you remember Mama Doll?
I sure do.
They kind of are like that, where they're like kind of folksy,
okay,
kind of boom clappy, but bluesy, great singer.
How funny.
They didn't have their guitar player also play bass some songs, but then would like have an octave pedal on her guitar, but just the lower 2 strings. It was super cool.
That is cool.
I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It was super rad though, how that was cool.
That seems like an interesting fit for the whole night.
It started out with Kip starting the show, so it started at its loudest and its most rocking, rolling, and then Poncho was like a good in-between into a blues ish.
Take it to a little bit more vibey, mellow kind of place.
Yeah, which was a great end of the night, honestly.
Gosh, you just threw I traveled through time back to early days in Spokane, hanging out. And I remember going to, I can't remember if it was like the Perry Street Fair or there's one of those events that I just remember was one of Mama Doll's like early shows, and people were just like entranced. It was like, and
what is happening? Yeah,
we both had come to town.
Yeah.
Right at the time when that band was starting, after kind of the dissolution of Sarah and Kent's other band that was super popular.
Holy Broke?
Before he started the Holy Broke, because that was his project, and I can't remember what the band was called. If anyone, they're probably listening, and they're like, "You're not true Spokanites."
Yeah. The funny thing is I should remember this because they came to Alaska and we opened for them.
Oh, really?
As Lavoy,
Buttons.
And we had no idea.
The
Curious
terrible buttons.
Terrible buttons. Yeah.
The curious case of the terrible buttons.
See, the thing is they play their music backwards.
That's right.
So it's, and then
you age backwards during
while watching their show.
Yeah. And then it picks up again afterward. That's why they were so
popular.
That's
how we keep that joke alive. But we opened for them in Alaska and didn't know it. And then when we came here, we were like, the Spider-Man meme.
Like,
what?
I recognize all of you.
And
2 giant bands, like so many people in their bands.
Oh yeah, and we have 5. Had 5 in ours.
That's a pretty large group.
We were also large people.
I mean,
Sean is 6'2".
I was gonna
Tyrell's
say
6'3", 4. Like,
and you're what?
I'm 5'10".
5'10".
Yeah.
Okay, you just have a large presence. Bit. You know,
just the personality.
Yeah. You read
the personality
You read tall.
Not the goat, but the personality of a goat.
A goat. I like that distinction a lot. Terrible Buttons, yeah. Somebody needs to do a podcast about that drama someday. If anybody wants to chronicle the history of the Spokane music scene, somebody needs to go into Terrible Buttons' rise, fall, fallout. It was a very fascinating time to move to town.
Interesting.
Because I didn't know any of these people.
Yeah, never had a clue.
I got directly into the music scene through the Bartlett and my brother and others, and so I'm meeting all these people and just getting the kind of what
tidbits of the tea
and looking around wow, this is a lot to step into the middle of. It's kind of funny. Yeah, just speaking, our friend Austin Case, who was in Mom and Doll, still she's doing lots of cool music stuff over in Seattle.
Cool.
And it's great. And Sarah, who I think is teaching, still writes and
I know they were traveling and the world. Cool band of women, though.
Yes.
Speaking of women, like that segue?
That was beautiful.
Hell yeah. Today we're talking about the incomparable, though we'll probably compare her to somebody someday eventually.
But
in this podcast,
up until what we're talking about now, known as the Queen of Disco, probably still that's her moniker, but she was
completely gorgeous,
crazy about it.
Though we are happily married, man, so don't come after us.
We're a couple of wife guys here, but
dude, watching the beginning of one of her documentaries that I watched, it's like, oh, I see why people had this to say about this. It was like, oh,
I'm having feelings right now. Hold on.
Yeah. My wife was having feelings.
Well, anyway, we are talking about
good feelings,
the one and only Donna Summer.
Donna Summer. She's a woman of deep faith, conviction, complicated feelings regarding that early career, for sure.
Yeah, that was interesting. Looking at, again, this particular moment, which we're going to, detail in just a second, but kind of seeing that this was such a turning point in multiple ways for her career.
This album we're talking about?
Yeah.
The Wanderer.
Yeah,
The
Wanderer.
Came out in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Pause everything, go put that on, and then come back.
Exactly.
In 45 minutes
because
when it's over.
You've probably never heard it.
Yeah, never. Yeah.
Like,
Wild.
even if you know Donna Summer, I Feel Love, and
Hot Stuff, Bad
yeah,
Girls.
like those are the big bangers, like at kind of the zenith of her disco career. You probably haven't heard this album.
I didn't, until we were. I will admit, we were on the Rolling Stone website going through the top albums of 1980, and this was listed in the 20s, and it just struck us how insane this was. Well, I guess, and just all the people involved in this record, another deep dive into a person that we're gonna I had to go on, and then just the spider web of all the people involved going into other projects that define the 80s. Yeah.
Well, especially, we've been looking to try to get into some of the albums that are important at that, especially the early part of the decade, that start to define the sound, the technology, the things that a lot of bands and artists are going to use and kind of permeate through the rest of the music, that you're going to hear through the decade. And then finding some of these that are, in a way, almost forgotten albums by important artists that, they have a lot of meat on the bone, so to speak, to to look at in their career, even if, she'll have a much bigger hit 2 or 3 years from now in the 80s, when she, Working Hard for the Money, I think is 83, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And so it's kind of cool to the last episode we did, we were talking about Toto at the height of their fame and power, kind of making their masterpiece, talking about Steve Lukather's playing on this record, he's playing guitar and he's all over it, you know, and this album kind of sits in that weird place where it's her zenith of fame was right before this. And then this was a whole, there's so many we're taking new paths, new directions.
It's such a weird, to be honest, it's such a weird album. But I am glad we're talking about a weird album. And
yeah,
not
that's exactly
a perfect album.
Right.
It feels like the last couple the last albums have all been like, oh, this is a perfect
Yeah,
album.
or like this was a big deal. This was a Grammy winning, like all of that,
This one, while nominated, didn't win any Grammys.
Right. Didn't even really have that big of a hit.
Song by song is just like kind of, each song is kind of weird and in its own direction. Yeah. We'll get into it.
Yeah, because I think it's kind of, that's what I think what I got, like my train of thought got switched mid-track or something, but that's what I was trying to get at, is like it's fun to dig into something this is not this artist's like masterpiece.
Correct. Yeah.
This is something though that was important to both their career and the culture, like in the way that it affects and ripples through like other things that are going to come. And I think that's why it's worth looking at, and because it's kind of forgotten, it was fun to listen to.
Yeah.
It was fun to kind of go, oh, like
this is where this came from.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where this happened.
Yeah.
And, oh, this person who did this went to work on this, and that makes so much sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like this was the prototype for everything after this.
Yeah, and especially because this will not be the last artist that we'll cover who comes out of the disco era into the 80s trying to kind of find a new identity.
Yeah, yeah, we were going to do Diana Ross, and that album, for whatever reason, we had a hitch to our Giddy Up. And we kind of sat with for a little bit, and it was just like, how do we talk about this?
We'll probably come back to it.
Yeah, absolutely. She's very important, especially when we talk about Michael Jackson, and she was his queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. A big influence on Michael Jackson is the correct way to say that, probably.
In a lot of ways. Some of them kind of weird.
Yeah, and so, but for whatever reason, we weren't feeling it, and so, but then when we saw this album, it like kind of, for me, it was an immediate light bulb of like, oh, this is perfect. And I love Donna Summer.
Yeah, I
love disco. It's a bass player's, I don't want to say wet dream, but it's a bass player. I just did
on the mic.
I can edit it out. I'm not gonna. Tabitha.
A bass player's regular dream.
Yeah. It's a rhythm. I mean, maybe not drummers, but for the bass player, it's all bass, and it's all dotted 16th notes, and it's all just like, yes, this is what bass players were born to do, I feel like.
Well, it's interesting that
at least maybe not all bass players.
We're gonna
not
dig
Justin
into this.
Chancellor from Tool. But
oh, sure, no,
you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, I think that as we dig into your research, that you stayed up too late writing, the fact that we're going to see like how disco is a weird like flash in the pan in a way, right? Like it's such a short
10 years
in your mind, it's like, oh, that seemed like it sort of was a fad that came and went, but really
it was 10 years,
and you keep hearing it through. Like
it keeps going.
Yeah, like
though it's a little bit chameleon-y.
Yes, it mutates.
In that, like, it's still, the beat's still there, but the rock. I mean, we'll get into it, I think, at the end, towards the end, unless we want to just do that now. But
yeah, I just care. Like it's interesting that this same year,
1980,
right? You have. I'm gonna fact check myself here really quick. Okay, so this same year, right, 1980, Queen's The Game album.
Oh, The Game, yeah.
Where Another One Bites the Dust is like one of their biggest hits from that album,
which is essentially
very disco influence, right? Like,
I mean, it's ripped straight from a Chic song,
baseline, right? Like
I wanting to say chick, but it's chic.
Chic,
because it's French.
Yeah. And so it's like, yes, the like, as we'll talk about some of like the death to disco movement and like people.
Oh, we're gonna get into that,
but it's
I'm gonna name names.
It doesn't go away.
I'm coming for them hard.
Yeah, okay.
Because disco's one of my favorite like genres, and
and that's the other thing I was gonna say. Disco's yet another genre of music rooted in black culture and dance, and like they call it at the time like an urban style music, which is of course is just code for black music and has been for decades. But another one that, and then culture kind of like gets a hold of it.
Yep,
it becomes huge. And
Saturday Night Fever came out in 1977. The Bee Gees like biggest hits were in 78, 77, 78, and that was when it was presented as like masculine, hairy. You can tell by the way she walks.
Right.
She's a woman.
Right. I mean, like, you got John Travolta, like, iconic.
Yeah. And it became very much like, if you're a man, you're gonna dance. You got to dance good.
Yeah, I mean,
and then all the men who couldn't dance good got real angry about it.
But I mean, have you seen John Travolta in that, like, in that movie?
I mean, yeah, but a long time ago.
I just mean, like, if I were watching him at that time, I'd also be
it's where
like,
the deep V-necks came from, right?
Yeah, that's right. I will also wear one of those and learn to dance. Yeah, so I think that, like, the fact that once again we're kind of looking at another genre of music that morphs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like we keep seeing this trend where black artists have to keep, like, something that they create essentially gets moved into white mainstream culture, then becomes sort of a parody of itself, then it's not cool anymore. So the black artists keep adapting in new ways to, like, and it's just fascinating to me to kind of see how that goes, that trend continuing. I'm excited to talk about Giorgio Moroder. So,
dude, that guy, what a, like, he needs his own. We just need to do not an album, but just specific episodes on specific people.
Well, like, especially producers like that have such a
what a dude.
Yeah, have such a hand in kind of developing a whole sound and.
What was your first experience like with Donna? Like finding out about Donna and disco and all that?
It's probably. Like, my dad liked disco music.
Sure.
And he, again, like...
because it's very like...
Yep.
If you have a Toto record, you have a disco record, probably.
Right. My mom really liked music from that era, too. And so, again, we talked about how our dads were both DJs.
Pretty much, yeah. And that was how I grew up, listening to all that in the background.
Yeah.
And then in my teens, with the bass guitar...
Yeah.
And a hoodie on so that the vibration, I could hear the bass through the headphones, because I would put the hoodie on and then my headphones over the top. And through the strap of the guitar, you could hear the bass and hear the notes I was playing through the hoodie.
Oh, interesting.
Like, it went through all of that, reverberations of the string through the guitar strap, through the hoodie, and then the music over the top, and pretty quiet. I learned... Learning to Breathe, all the album by Switchfoot, top to bottom. Blink-182's Take Off Your Pants and Jacket came out.
Of course.
Top to bottom. Learned all that.
2 absolute seminal albums for that time.
And then I remember working at one of my dad's DJ events, the head tilt of Hot Stuff by Donna Summer.
Yeah.
And, like, this dotted 16s of the... I think that's dotted 16. Anyways, of the bass, and just being like, what? And trying to learn it while I'm like picking songs and helping out, and then the rest is history, because my dad, oh yeah, that's disco. Look up Earth, Wind and Fire, and I was like, what? My mind just blew, because it was the music that I had grown up with.
Yeah.
That was on because I was at DJ events and all that stuff, and it was on the radio and all that. But now it made the impact of the music actually hit me, and it was like, I want to make people dance.
Yeah.
Through my bass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, like those bass lines being, again, like you said,
so
such
good.
A feature of those songs.
Hot in the mix. It's like, hell yeah, I'm here too, guys.
I think also about, like, just that, I think for me it was probably either I Feel Love or, one of those, just, like on the radio, admiring the vocal performance on those tracks, it was her voice was such an iconic, something about the way that not just her, like, the biggest groan from
Goose,
my co-host over here. Hey, you don't have to love Donna Summer, but you don't need to make noise about it while we're recording.
He's like, really?
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, like, just her voice was really powerful, and, like, I felt like she had a lot of dynamic range in the way that she'd sing these songs, and so that was really, I think, the thing that stuck out to me. It's funny, again, to, like, we've been talking about it. It usually is about 2.5 decades is when everybody starts getting real nostalgic for some, like that's the length of time.
Yeah.
And when we were kind of,
I'll be honest, like I think she did it first. In this group of the 80s tunes
you
kind
hear
of
it.
reaching back. When we go through her if we go through her albums, her album I remember, what's it called? Shoot.
I just think it's funny that even in like the late 90s, you'd have these like 70s dress up parties, know? And so your school dance would be 70s themed, and you'd like wear, bell bottoms and they'd play disco music. Like that was true. What it was, and so like in your mind.
And those events were what I was helping my dad DJ at. So I was like,
it's just funny, right?
Dude.
Like how that cycle goes through. Yeah. So I think it's kind of cool to then look at, like I said, this is just so interesting to see this artist that literally like, and we'll go, do a flyover of her history, but like the queen of this genre taking kind of like a hard left, and being like, I'm ready for some big changes.
Not just a left, but a right and a U-turn and a...
Maybe it was, and then straight up and down.
Let's do a Fast and Furious, and jump off this ramp into the oncoming lane. And oh, there's a tank. We gotta flip around. Yeah, do it. Yeah. A funny anecdote. So after I heard that, I learned how to do the like doom did it, the octaves, dotted 16th notes. It was like every worship song. That I played.
Sneaking like it in youth. There.
Oh, dude, it was I was like, look at what I can do.
You guys like disco?
Yeah. Well, do want to say sources. There's a bunch I want to say here. Sources, Ordinary Girl, The Journey by Donna Summer and Mark Elliott. I'm pretty sure she was just like, Mark Elliott was like, we're going to embellish some things here.
Sure. Is this the one that they were talking about in the podcast that you sent me?
Yeah, so there's this podcast. It's called Glamorous Trash.
Yes.
And I forget the name of the host, but she used to be on The Daily Show and a writer for The Daily Show. It's actually really good. She's really good at what she does. And so
they essentially
just
do
go
celebrity
through
memoirs,
celebrity memoirs.
Yeah.
They did Donna Summer. It was really good. Go listen to that if you want to listen to the whole, like if you want like a condensed version and their reactions to what was happening. And there is some parts in Ordinary Girl where you're like, Mark Elliott, you're embellishing this for the like the tasty like trash horniness, and you're like, it's kind of mind bending.
Yeah.
But it's also like Donna Summer is a person and was probably in her teens and in her 20s experiencing all the things that a person in their teens and 20s feels, right? So you just happened to be one of the biggest singers in the world when she was in her teens and 20s.
And as we're going to talk about, like, was not always super comfortable with how her image was portrayed. And kind of the...
Oh, yeah, we'll get into that, yeah.
Like the role that she was...
Well, we'll get into that, yeah. I Feel Love, Donna Summer, Giorgio Moroder, and How They Reinvented Music by Dave Thompson. Dave Thompson is like a music writer, not necessarily a critic. Super good. I really liked his stuff. Donna Summer's Once Upon a Time by Alex Jeffrey. It's pretty short. That was like a 25-page, and it was just about that album and what it meant for him. I think I used a couple things from that. Love to Love You, Donna Summer, a doc on HBO, and it's by her kids. It's by her, I think her youngest kid.
Okay.
Brooklyn? I'm not sure. But that was one where they kind of did a head-on take of her Christianity and how her personal life was affecting her professional life and vice versa. And that was super cool. It's really good. I kind of want to stay out of that a little bit. We'll mention some key things because you have to these key things kind of really, you kind of have to have that understanding to know where she's going, why she makes The Wanderer. You have to understand what's going on in her personal life a little bit.
Yeah.
YouTube, the Donna Summer Archive. Everything she's ever done is on that. Unreleased interviews, documentaries that aren't on HBO. Just tons of stuff is on there. It's really, really good. She did a 1978 interview with Rona Barrett, and it's amazing. It's so touching and calm and cool and collected, professional, and just like you really get. This is 78. This is 2 years before, well, a year before she records, and a whole bunch of stuff happens in 79, and you just can see where she's already heading.
Mm-hmm.
And it's before the disco demolition night. It's before all that, and you can see where she's already trying to head.
Yeah.
And so she's like, she's a smart cookie, man.
Mm-hmm.
I really am impressed with that. There is a PBS documentary called Disco Soundtrack to a Revolution. And it's really good. It's free. You just have to have like a PBS account, and it's amazing. It's
cool.
like 4 hours of just really in-depth interviews.
That's a great resource.
With
that's
disco
cool.
people who were there, club owners, radio personalities. It's super cool.
Yeah.
There is a new book coming out in August. That's not on our list, but I was just putting a plug for that. It looks super cool.
Cool.
Yeah. These guys are Italian and have access to Giorgio Moroder's side of things.
Okay.
So it's focused on Donna Summer, but with everybody's notes on it kind of coming together. I feel like we should do like a little bit of a disclaimer, just then that we're two white straight dudes talking about a black woman, and we're not here to criticize or judge. We're here to illuminate ourselves first, our audience second. I don't really want to define her story. I just want to like ground myself in her lived experience and try to understand what was happening so that I can understand where she's coming from.
Yeah, 100%.
And become a better person about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Using her memoir as much as possible, which is, her words, even though Mark Elliott
I was going to
got
say,
in there.
her mostly her words.
Mostly her Mark
Not
Elliott.
ghostwritten by.
I don't know how I feel about that guy.
Yeah.
And then like I said, this album, this kind of requires another deep dive, so I'm sorry.
Not at all.
I edited it down from 4,700 to 4,400 words.
Well done.
So I'm proud of myself for that. We kind of talked about, it wasn't a big hit. The Wanderer is not a big hit. Most of what we talk about is talking about the 70s, the disco era. Oh, this really should be number one, but like all things in popular culture, black women did it first. I'm just going to, that's kind of a blanket statement that I keep learning. Rock and roll started with Sister Rosetta Sharp and Elizabeth Cotton. Tharp.
Mm-hmm. But yes.
Oh, it autocorrected. And then you wouldn't have Madonna without the Donna.
Oh, I like that. Thank you.
Bam.
Thank you for saying that.
Bam.
I mean, just like if we do a real quick, like her history, just this part. Like she's from Boston.
Yeah, born in 1948, December 31st, Christmas baby, kind of.
December, just like us.
December birthdays.
Just like you and me.
It's amazing.
Aww.
In her memoir, she talks lovingly about growing up. Two key things I want to talk about her childhood.
Mm-hmm.
She was in not necessarily a project house, but lots of kids in the neighborhood were in and out of her house.
Mm-hmm.
She felt like when she was young, and this is like pre 8 years old, is that she just wanted to be seen and to be heard. Also, she wet the bed when she was growing up, and her dad, different time, different place, not judging, not really commenting on it, but saying he would beat her and spank her for wetting the bed to try to make her stop. Lots of things to say about that, but we're not going to say anything about that. But getting in that headspace of then at 8 years old, she is allowed to sing at church, and she talks about it as like a Disney transformation moment of, the beast into the prince.
Yeah,
or
like you're finding
Ariel when she gets legs,
that part
or
of
whatever.
Yourself that
the Cinderella into a princess, where like everybody saw her for the first time.
Yeah,
and it's then when she knew that that's what she wanted to be. She wanted to be famous. Those are her words. Is she wanted that attention that you got from that. Throughout her high school, she's part of band. She has boyfriends. She witnesses a mugging. This is a big thing, is that she witnesses a mugging. The victim of that mugging ends up dying, and then she testifies, and a couple of the dudes get put in jail. The other dudes that didn't get put into jail start stalking her and start like terrorizing her, and there's threats. And so her parents, and this is still when she's like 16, 17, 18 or something. They're like, yeah, you should move to New York and get out of town. And I'm like, parents, what? anyways.
Right.
She doesn't like defend. She talks very lovingly about her family, very, and through the lens of when she's older, looking back on it. So she moved to New York City, joined a band called The Crow, not the movie.
No.
But a band called The Crow.
Like a blues.
It's like a blues
band.
R&B. Yeah, they wanted her to be the white Janis Joplin, which is so funny because Janis Joplin was just copying Rosetta Tharpe and was just copying the black singers she saw. Little Richard, she just like...
Otis Redding, right?
Otis Redding, yeah. And it's like just
was
funny how
obsessed
that's
with Otis
coming. That's coming full circle. She got a record deal. Just her offered a record deal. She had a boyfriend and a manager at the time. She gets pregnant.
Is this before she moves to Germany?
This is right before she moves to Germany.
Okay.
And that's where I'm leading is so she gets pregnant. Her manager goes, "I can give you a pill that will make you have your period again." And she's like, "Oh, sweet." Which is an at-home abortion. So we'll just mention that real quick. She was coming home from a club by herself late at night, and some guys were following her. She doesn't know if it was like the people from Boston stalking her, but her head was on a swivel.
Yeah.
And she got home, and they like ran after her and all that sort of stuff. So she had a frightening incident. So all these things, band, record contract without the band, boyfriend trying to do the right thing, saying he would marry her, manager trying, giving her weird pills that give her an at-home abortion, which is super painful at the time. And a talent recruiter comes up to her and goes, "Hey, you would be great in a musical called Hair.
Hair.
Not Hairspray.
No, Hair.
Hair.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not a musical theater dude, so I've never heard of it.
It's big? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
She gets offered her choice of Italy, Germany, England. Now, Scotty, let's play a little game. If this were you and you had all these things happening to you, what would you choose? I know what I would choose.
I mean, between those three, I'd go to England.
Yeah, you at least know the language.
Yes.
I wouldn't. I'd stay at home and be like, I got stuff happening here. I got my own record contract.
Yeah.
I'd brave it out. Like, there's still some security, And that I think just this talks about just our personalities. But, like, maybe if I was going to go, I'd probably do Italy.
Sure.
But that's just because of food.
I don't know if you can, because of food. I love it.
Why would you go to Germany?
That is a really important thing to consider when you're traveling.
There's no, like...
what food you're going to
I'm like, I know Italy because there's food, history, like...
Sure.
And Germany this is in middle 60s. So World War II is still in people's minds, like, right? Like, there's still the stuff I'd be like, I don't want to go to Germany. England or Italy. Yeah.
Well,
so why she picks Germany is just
to me
fortuitous.
Like the German part, that is a challenging thing to like try to put yourself in that headspace. But the idea of trying to get out
makes
sense to me. Just because I think if you get into the headspace of like I wish we could say
clean break
that like we've come a long way in the way that women and female artists and like the way that their careers are managed and the experiences that women have with men, that we've come a long way and things have changed a lot. But we can't say that.
They?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
I don't think we can. Yeah.
So it's looking at you kind of wonder if maybe she's at this point where she's like fear that she's still being stalked by these people, from this incident.
Yeah.
So that's like just, pervasive. Maybe she's feeling overwhelmed by this idea of like this good boyfriend who would marry her, but she's really young and is just like, I don't want that to be the rest of my life. And like, yes, you could have a record contract, but this manager, maybe is trying to force things, and it's just like, maybe again, like, what she needs and what she thinks she sees is just like an escape hatch. It's just like
100%.
This is my opportunity to get out and like
that's what she says. In her memoir. It's
like build the life that I think I want rather than the one I could get trapped in.
She said she chose it for the complete distance. No one knows her there. The recruiter says it's super open to American actresses and it's a complete cutoff from her life in America. She wanted out of all of that. So exactly 100. Good read on that. So she moves to Germany. She is an instant hit.
And this is 1968 is when she moves to Munich.
Yep.
Yeah.
Going off your reaction, you're nodding to me right now. Hair is a great experience.
I don't know. I mean, it was a big sort of countercultural 60s like musical, like a rock musical.
Yeah.
Hippie the sexual revolution of the 60s, like these
that makes sense.
themes being like, kind of at the forefront.
It makes sense why they would offer this to her and where her career trajectory goes.
Yes. And so, also this being like 1968, right? This is the year after sort of the Summer of Love of 67, right? Like all of the countercultural stuff hitting its peak, right? And all of this will start to crash and burn about a year and a half from now, right?
Yeah.
You get into 69.
Well, yeah. So, but she's in Germany,
right.
And so just based on the strength of that,
yep.
she gets offered background roles in movies. She gets offered background vocals, and so she has a career still. And even though she's out of that, people are still stopping her on the street and like asking for autographs and stuff. And she's like, I'm nobody.
Which is wild. And
it's just.
She becomes like fluent in German.
And she's also like the only black person there, kind of, Yep. I mean, not the only, but
it's a novelty.
It's a novelty, kind of. Fast forward to 1973, she does background vocals with Three Dog Night. What a random act.
Yeah, just being recording in Germany. Like,
they are being produced by Giorgio Moroder and Pete Bellotte. Pete, and I just call him Giorgio and Pete from the rest of this podcast.
They're a team.
They're the guys.
Yeah. And if you would like Giorgio's life story, Daft Punk
basically did a double album of his life story.
Go and get the condensed version on the track Giorgio by Moroder.
They hit it up with Donna. They like her vibe. They like her takes and her suggestions, and they produced the first album, Lady of the Night,
on Oasis, right? His
record
label.
labels, and that came out in February 26, 73. Even though I have 74 later, but
that's when she signs with Casablanca, right? That's her first. This
correct,
one is the first one.
Yeah.
Then she does 4 records with Casablanca. Records.
And like I said at the beginning, Giorgio Moroder, really, we could just have an episode dedicated to him.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring him up again.
Hit tracks are one of his first albums is A Son of My Father, 71. I really like Nights in White Satin. I listened to that. That's really good.
Classic.
Yeah. The song, part 1, Nights in White Satin. From Here to Eternity. You would probably know more popular tracks are the Top Gun soundtrack and Berlin Take My Breath Away. Like, he produced all that. And
so wait, that's interesting then too, because we're going to talk later more about Harold Faltermeyer.
Well, he became his number 3.
Just that. Okay, hold on. I want to look at something.
Okay. Well, I can keep talking about Lady of the Night.
Get us to,
how do we keep going? Well, Lady of the Night, the single was released in 73. The album came out in 74. It was released only in the Netherlands. Sounds pretty good, but it sounds like a pretty good engineered, produced R&B album from the 60s. Not a whole lot of synths. All songs were written by Giorgio and Pete. And toward the end of the recording time, Giorgio asked Donna if she has anything for a new song. And she's like, well, I got this one line called Love to Love You, Baby. And then history was made.
Which is funny, right? That just could be such a, like, love to love you, baby. Like, okay.
Giorgio's like, oh, that sounds cool.
Instead of
let's make a 20-minute song just off of that line.
Got anything else? Well, nope, that's the one.
She said she wanted to do, there's this racy, my French is terribly
Give it your best shot.
Je t'aime moi non plus. I think autocorrect changed a lot of that. Anyways, it's a song that came out in 67, and it's about 2 lovers making love, and it's done in like a really breathy style. Donna was like, oh, let's just do that.
Yeah, just take that and do.
Giorgio said Donna said she wanted to do that.
Sure.
And Donna was like, I think Donna was using that as like, not an excuse, but a reason of like, this seemed a normal thing to her to do. Was to create a track that is really racy, that is really sexual oriented, because my point is that in Europe, that's normal.
Sure. It was a little...
it's more normalized.
Yes, more progressive
here,
there.
Where we're still listening to like guys in suits and like 50 guys in suits.
Yeah.
Orchestral music, swing music.
Well, especially at the time, like, again, a lot of the more sort of explicit or even like innuendo in lyrics was in a lot of
endo
black music again, and kind of got scrubbed, when white artists would cover it.
Yeah. So they create the basic track, which is 3:50, 3 minutes, like about 4 minutes. They shop it around to a bunch of people. The head of Casablanca Records gets it. He plays it at like a dinner party, and everybody's like, play that again.
Mm-hmm.
So he plays it again. And then everybody's like, play that another time.
So
he
cool.
does it again. Play that another time. So he does it again. Differing accounts. Later he says, Neil is like, I put it on and had to restart it 3 times while I was making love to my wife. So it's like,
it's like working.
The interviews that you see on YouTube are like on TV, and he has like that version, and then he's like in non-polite society, he's saying probably the real version. It's probably in between there. Anyways, he went to Giorgio and Pete and were like, give me 20 minutes of the song. And so they did. I think this is kind of a really cool way to market this, is that he markets it to radio stations to put it on at midnight, which is like kind of a dead time.
Yeah.
And then, but throughout the day leading up to it is to be like, tune in at midnight for 20 minutes of love.
The late night.
Yeah. And it was like genius because nobody had done that before. And I just thought that was really actually kind of cool, because then they played the track for 20 minutes, no interruptions, in this day and age with ads and everything. That's wild.
Right.
To think about. And then it goes crazy. They bring Donna over to America and present her as already like an established artist that's huge in Europe. And so they like rent Rolls Royces, they rent fur coats, they like put her in like
build this whole image.
Yeah, and this is where it's Neil, white guy, saying, you are going to be sexy Donna, queen,
Lady of Love,
Lady of the Night. And Donna, like, looking back on it and what we talked about before with being abused, and she just wants to be in the limelight and all that stuff, is it's like, she goes along with it.
Yeah.
My wife was saying that as a woman, she is in a man's system, and she has to like play along. She can still get what she wants, and she can manipulate to get what she wants. And also she's just really young, right? And so like she's just, okay, like this seems awesome, because so she's getting...
Yeah, this is the path like that's laid out for you.
And it's directed by white guys, you know, even well-meaning white guys in Giorgio, who she describes as her best friend during like all through the 70s. Safe space. And I'm just like, yes,
thank you.
Finally, there's one. Hey, notably, he was married to the same woman for like 40 years until she passed away. And as far as I can find, I did cursory Google.
Sure.
No intense, like no big
scandals
or allegations or anything. So I'm like, dude, there's one out there. There's a good one.
It is interesting to kind of see that like image sort of coalesce, this First Lady of Love image, because again, this is like the story, I feel like, of so many female artists, especially when they're like picked up young, is you have white, like, male people in power, in positions of power, who are like, we know exactly how to market this. And it's almost like before the artist has a chance to even kind of
think about it.
Yeah, or even have a say in what they want their artistic identity to be. It's like, well, if this is the path, if this is sort of my foot in the door, and like, like you said, when she was young, her thing is like, I'm going to be famous.
Yeah.
I remember in that podcast, they were talking about like, it was like God told her, you're going to be famous. Like, I'm going to make you famous.
They had a lot of good things to say about the whole religious aspect and her being religious and her going back to it in her old age, and then like coding everything in that lens.
Yeah, the magical thinking of it, right? But like, if that's kind of where your head is at,
that's
right?
really the only thing I have to criticize about it. But
sure, and I mean,
we're not going to do that.
I feel like the only way that I can like relate to this at all is just that feeling of, if you really are told when you're young, and you really, or even if you just have a deep like belief when you're young that like some supernatural force is going to do this for me. This is the door is going to open. I just need to like, stay on the track, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like if this looks like, I guess this is the way that's going to happen, you just keep walking through the door. It does not always like lead you to the place where you want to go.
Sure.
And you can become really disillusioned later on because it's that magical thinking where you're looking for a narrative. You know what I mean? You're looking for some cohesion to like, oh, this was supposed to happen and this was supposed to happen. And because those things happen, now I'm here, and it's like, oh, I can look back when so much of that is really just your brain trying to make sense of a lot of random, chaotic, lucky or unlucky events.
Yep. Right place, right time.
Yeah.
She chose Germany.
Right.
Like if she hadn't chose Germany,
right,
we wouldn't hear. She wouldn't have met Giorgio. Yeah. Like or maybe she would have. Maybe that's in all. What is that in Marvel? It's like the
multiverse.
It's but you have a. It's in the Spider-Man animated movies with Miles Morales. You have a
canon event, right?
A canon event, but a canon person too. Yeah. So without that person, the whole like reality
splinters
of that
and falls apart.
Yeah.
That's why you wanted to talk about spider webs earlier. It's because you just really wanted to tie it to
Well, you keep saying this is the way, and it's May 4th, so... and you have a Mandalorian and Grogu shirt on.
Path, but
no, you said this is the way.
I will say it loud and proud. We are recording on a holiday.
Speaking of spider webs, a notable person here, it's engineered and recorded by Reinhold Mack, a producer who just becomes Mack, and he ends up producing Billy Squier, AC/DC, Queen.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The Game. He ends up producing The Game, and ELO for 5 years in the 70s, and then produces The Game.
Legend.
So it's like Spiderweb right there.
Yep.
Like already, whoa, cool. That's another dude we have to talk about. Moving on, Love Trilogy comes out March 5th, 1970s. Okay, keep in mind these dates. Love to Love You came out... Love to Love You came out in
74 or 5? 74.
Lady of the Night also came out 74. This is the next album. No, that's the first album. Love to Love You, Baby came out in 75.
Yeah, that's right.
We kind of talked about that. She Comes to America. Love Trilogy comes out March 5th, 76. So beginning of 76. It's basically... just copy paste Love to Love You. Side 1 is an 18-minute track. Side 3 has 3 or 4 songs. And this is where we meet, quote, the Munich machine, end quote, session musicians that Moroder uses for everything in Germany, in Munich. I just love, one of the guys' names is Thor, Baldur's son. And I'm like, hell yes.
That's so good.
Like it's just perfect. But it's certified gold in 6 months, which is $500K in America. It goes gold everywhere in Europe, and Love to Love You, Baby goes multi-platinum in like 6 months or something like that too. So 6 months after Love to Love You, Baby is Love Trilogy. 6 months after that in October is 4 Seasons of Love. This is the 3rd concept album. She gets writer's credit. Oh, before that, Love Trilogy, Donna gets writer's credit on 2 of the songs. So she didn't get writer's credit for Love to Love You, Baby. Interesting, even though she came up, both her and Giorgio said she came up with that line.
I hate that.
Now Donna is getting writer's credit on 2 songs. 4 Seasons of Love comes out, another concept album. She gets writer's credit on all the songs. She's really coming into her own. A reviewer says that, quote, since there are only 5 songs, but each tune based on a season of the year is pure summer, baby.
Yeah.
End quote. I was
pure
like,
summer.
I was like, good joke. That's a good one.
Wait, can we...
It is very erotic and very disco.
The way that she ends up as Donna Summer, Summer.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Say that real
just
quick.
The fact that she... So
it's like a typo, right?
Yes, she marries someone in Germany, right?
Yeah,
which is
I'm
fine.
not really like talking about her personal life, but she marries a white dude with blue eyes.
Yeah, but
her second husband is also a white dude, and I think her third. I don't know if she marries again. I forget.
Got a type. That's
I didn't get that far.
Well,
in her career, but
so his name is Helmut Summer.
Helmut,
but it's Sommer.
The way it's supposed to be spelled.
Correct.
Yeah.
This is the German spelling, and so this is in like 73. Anyway, when her first album is being printed, the record label thinks that SOMMER is a typo and changes it to summer.
SUMO.
And when they basically see it and get it, they're like, yeah, why wouldn't
that's it?
Yeah, why wouldn't we do that?
Yep.
Which
guess that's my name now.
Yeah, there's more stories like that than you'd think about artists and bands who get their name through either a typo or a record label decision at the last minute,
or just they're at the union office and they're like, there's already a Michael Lewis.
Right.
You need to be somebody else. Oh, okay. I'll be who's the guy I was thinking of?
Are you thinking of Michael Keaton?
Yeah.
Because his name is Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas, that's right. Yeah.
I always think
Michael
about
Lewis,
that too.
Michael Douglas. Or who's the guy in the producers? Nathan Lane? Yeah, his name is something ridiculous, but he just like saw Nathan and then like it was Lane or something. I don't know. Anyways, point being, there's a lot of random things like that.
Yep.
Yeah. 4 Seasons of Love, we did that. I remember yesterday,
this
May
is a big one.
13th, 1977,
Yes.
6 months after.
This is the 4th album on Casablanca.
A year, 4 albums in a year, all have gone gold.
Mm-hmm.
So right there out of the gate, it's mind-blowing. 4 albums in a year that go gold. That's 2 million record sales selling. Where were we at?
77. We're talking
yesterday.
About. So, yeah, I remember yesterday. Which, okay, I learned this and I had not known this before. On that Daft Punk track where Moroder's giving his like kind of autobiography, and he says, "I wanted to make an album with the sounds of the '60s, the sounds of the '70s, and the sounds of the future."
Remember, and Donna
He's
was
talking
like
about
that
this
too.
record.
This is what I mentioned earlier in this podcast about Donna Summer was the first one to do it. Of like, I remember she's remembering the sounds of the youth coming back because
they're playing with using disco as like a sort of framework.
Yeah, but
like using sounds and like things that evoke those.
Yeah.
And so then when he's like, I wanted to make a song that sounded like the future, he wanted to use the synthesizer. Why not use the it's like
the synthesizer?
Yeah, so I Feel Love becomes this really important song for recording because of all of the different like programming and things they did with the Moog. Like that being such a huge jump forward for like, what they're doing with the Moog synthesizer.
And I think this is where Stevie P in our Toto episode, Steve Porcaro, is like going, his mind is being exploded and you can do all these things, and because he mentions that in one of the interviews that this album I Feel Love was a big one for him. It
seems like industry wide the way that song kind of envelops you with its like synth sounds, but still has like a really definitive groove, and I mean the hook is really strong, right? Like that song I think was a pretty big like
I Feel Love
thing, for
it was their first #1 hit since Love to Love You Baby.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're 2 years since Love to Love You Baby.
Yep, since 75.
Yeah, and this is also where Donna Summer gets writing credit for every song on the record.
And you can see going forward, that's really
She's
what
really
she
coming
wanted.
into
She
her
wanted to
own.
be seen as a songwriter.
Her image of being the sexy lady of the night is starting to take a little bit of a back seat. She's starting to get more confident in her ability as an artist. So being able to go into the studio and not feeling a song, but still writing a hit song.
Yeah.
Like what we were talking about with all the session musicians of just going in. Doesn't matter what genre it is. Doesn't matter if you feel it. You go in, you get the work done.
You do the work.
And it becomes a hit song.
Right.
It's like this is where Donna's becoming that.
Right. And you can tell that's what she wants. Like, part of the drama that's going to crop up that we'll talk about is she wants to be a songwriter.
She talks about, and this was something that was really interesting to me, for Love to Love You Baby, when she was recording it, she says she was playing a role, so she was kind of coming in and taking on the mentality of like an actor.
Which makes sense. She'd spent time...
musical theater.
Yep.
And she was playing the role of Marilyn Monroe. And like, how would Marilyn do this?
Sure.
And like, this is her doing this. She says in that interview with Rona Barrett, she's talking about, that's how I do almost any song. She comes in and she's writing it as a role, and she's writing it now. She's not just coming in and getting lyrics and, she's coming in with nothing, a blank page, taking on a role, writing lyrics.
Yeah, and like inhabiting that part.
Inhabiting it. And she's a true artist in the sense of an artist, not just a singer or a lyricist, or right? Like,
yeah, taking on all aspects of like creating,
which is really cool.
It's really cool, and I love that idea of
it's
like
really interesting to me that
making
somebody
music
can do that.
Yeah, like
I can't
creating
do that.
persona, right?
Yeah.
To then approach, especially if you're somebody who you're maybe finding a way to justify like some of the ways that you're being portrayed, you know? And it's like, well, if I'm playing a character, this isn't really who I am, then you can really like lean into that and play it up.
Here's the thing, too, is she's really good at playing that character.
Yeah, well, obviously.
That documentary that her kids make, the first like 10 minutes is her live and footage from her live, and it made me feel things. And it's like, I'm like, man, if like after watching that interview where she says I'm being an actor and I'm inhabiting a role, and then watching that, I'm going like, man, she's a damn good actor.
Yeah, it's
holy
like,
crap.
Yeah,
she's really good at her
job.
That
is the first lady of love.
Yeah. Ooga. During 77, she also writes the lyrics and sings on the soundtrack song for The Deep, which is like a crappy Jaws. Sorry, Peter Benchley. He's the one who wrote Jaws.
Yeah.
And then writes The Deep.
It's like, well, if people liked that one,
quick, we got to get another one out. And so it came out 2 years. Yeah, Jaws came out in 75. But she wins a Golden Globe for that song, Deep Down Inside. I wonder what that's about.
Golden Globe. Okay, hold on.
We'll keep moving on.
I want to know more about The Deep. Hold on.
Oh, The Deep? It's like there's a giant eel guarding a treasure, and a young couple find this pendant and like barely escape the giant eel, and then there's like they bring it to this like treasure guy.
Yes, but apparently they also are in conflict with local drug dealers because
there's this whole thing.
Not just treasure, but a morphine cache.
Yeah,
he was really trying to tap into everything.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Can you just
imagine
reading
the pitch? About it and going like,
he's probably like, hey, you guys remember Jaws? It was just
Jaws?
About a shark.
Instead of a shark, it's an eel.
And then what if there's drugs and treasure?
And instead of like fishermen and military, it's drugs and treasure and morphine. And
people be like, how many drugs have you done this month?
He's like, no, wait, guys.
It's brilliant, I promise.
So then
Wait,
6
did you
months.
Say that's the song is called.
That's what the song is called. Yep.
This is.
And I'm like, I wonder what that's about.
There is no way you could get. That's essentially like Will Smith levels of. Can you just write us a song with the title of the movie like in it?
Man in Black.
Yeah, Wild West. Like,
yeah.
We don't
What's
just
going to be
need-
the chorus? Wild West.
Yeah, I got it. Don't worry about it.
Love it.
Can you okay, side note. I just imagined the phone call that Stevie Wonder gets where they're like, hey, somebody wants to sample your song, okay? Like, classic song, wish those days would come back again. Like, they want to use it. It's going to be in a big movie soundtrack. Like, what do you think? And Stevie Wonder's like, great. Like, what's the song about?
Wild West.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of like cowboys fighting a giant mechanical spider? What do you think about that? Do you think?
Have you ever heard of the subgenre steampunk? This is kind of like that.
What do you think about us using your track for these
for the credits? It's not in the actual movie. It's like the end credits.
Yeah.
Right?
But in a film where at one point Will Smith is going to like drum on the breasts of a woman wearing a corset like bongos. What do you think? Yes, that's okay. Stevie, hello. I think he's fine. Let's just do it.
How much? Yeah. He's busy.
We already cut it in there anyway. So
yeah,
it's fine. It's fine.
It's easier to ask. Okay. After the Deep, October 31st, 1977, fourth album. Well, fifth, but...
Yeah, the fourth on Casablanca.
But 6 months after I Remember Yesterday, Once Upon a Time comes out. It's another concept, yet again, another concept album telling the story of Cinderella. It's the first disco opera. It's disco's first double album, so 4 sides.
Mm-hmm.
And all tracks were written by Donna. Went gold just in U.S. Overseas, this is her 5th in the top 20. So like every record she makes is going number 5, like going in top 20, no matter what. Just churning out hits. Notables. The song "Rumor Has It" has nothing to do with Adele's "Rumor Has It."
Mm-hmm.
I checked. Then she goes on tour for almost a year. She also stars in a movie during this time.
What's the movie?
Thank God It's Friday.
Classic TGIF.
Dude, yeah, it is. Then in August 1978, she releases Live and More. It's a live album, her first live album. The More is a couple songs she does, which the album ends with the song Last Dance, which is also included in the movie Thank God It's Friday. Donna wins her first Grammy Award for Best Female R&B Performance in 1979. The More also includes a duet with Barbra Streisand. And this is a funny story. Funny and because I think it portrays... I'm going to call her Babs. Babs's memoir came out first, and she says in that, she's like, oh, this is a funny story. I was recording this duet with Donna Summer, and she came in, and we started singing. We were supposed to hold this high note out at the end together, and while we do this high note, Donna faints, falls to the floor, and then comes to, all while I'm still holding this high note. I'm like, what? Okay. Donna Summer's memoir then comes out a couple years later.
Uh-huh.
She's like, okay, Babs, if that's the way you want to tell that story. One, I had just come in from 9 months of touring. I had a fever for 9 days straight. And I was coming in because my manager said that you were probably going to cancel because you were double booked. And I showed up out of professional courtesy to you. And I didn't think we were actually going to do the song. And then me personally, Ryan, and that podcast, Gorgeous Trash, were they in separate vocal booths? Like, how would that have They obviously were able to see each other.
Right.
Because Babs says she saw Donna faint.
Mm-hmm.
And then fall, and then come to. And the podcast and me, when I read that, I was like, wouldn't you just stop and be like, hey, are you okay? Oh, you have a fever? You should go home. What are you doing here? Like, you need to go to the hospital. And Babs is just like, that's a fun, neat little story about how good I can sing.
Yeah. I just kept holding that high note.
Yeah.
I figured she'd be fine.
And that's just a funny anecdote about that. That ends up going double platinum, by the way, in like 6 months. That album.
Mm-hmm.
Wild. Then
they're going to have, it's funny that her and Barbra Streisand are going to have another little...
They do? I think this is from Babs' side though. Because
well, and not. It's just what we'll get to it, but yes.
I looked up a bunch of lists of like who was the number one female vocalist, female singer in the 80s, and Donna Summer is always number 2, like always.
Yeah.
And it's mostly just because Barbra Streisand having musical theater, pop. Like
she was more movies,
in an actress, and just all around. She was everywhere, not just in disco.
Right.
But I think in terms of pure sales, it's Donna.
Yeah.
Like worldwide.
Yeah.
I'll say it. I think Babs has a chip on her shoulder about like Donna is the sexy queen.
Interesting.
Worldwide. And while Babs may have like more Grammys and she can sing better because she's Broadway trained or whatever in classic opera and all that. It's like
the Barbra Streisand stands are, that's a hardcore group of people.
Come for us. I'll take it.
Yeah, I did not grow up anywhere near a Barbra Streisand house, so I don't have much.
Me neither.
Yeah, like that wasn't a thing in my house growing up, and so I can't say much to it. We'll have to cover some Barbra Streisand and learn something.
Yeah,
we'll have to learn ourselves something.
Looking forward to that. Anyways, Bad Girls comes out April 25th, 1979. So 6 months,
right?
No, 79.
Isn't Bad Girls in 78? Okay, hold on.
Whoa, fact check.
They were working on it in, okay, sorry. Yes, you are correct. April 25th, 79. They were working on it through 78, yeah. And
December 78 through March of 79.
Got it.
Released in April 25th, 1979.
And
immediately, within a week of its release, it's certified platinum.
Yeah, and this is their first, like, Billboard #1 album. Spent, like, 6 weeks at #1. Yep. This is where you start to kind of get all of, like, Donna Summer records that had never been set before, you know? She was, like, the first female of what they call, like, the rock era to have 2 top 5 singles on the charts. It's interesting that this is the point where, which is going to lead us into The Wanderer. They're notably, like, paying attention to the rise again of, like, punk and
hard rock,
metal and hard rock, kind of coming into
the
starting to get to the point where it's starting to push disco out. And so it's cool that
the interview is in 78, right before this comes out, where she's like, I want to branch out.
Yeah, I want to expand. I want to do something different. Yeah.
I think she's so on top of it already.
Yeah.
And also, at this point, she's been doing it 8 albums in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woof, dude. That is intense.
Yep.
That's like 3 months of touring, 3 months in the studio.
Yeah, it's just nonstop.
3 months of press for the coming out, and then 3 months of touring, and it's like nonstop. And this is where she starts kind of breaking down a little bit.
Well, yeah, because you're just working nonstop.
She's depressed. She has no control of her personal life.
Mm-hmm.
She has no control of her professional life. It's all being directed by Neil, and it's all being directed by managers, all men in her sphere.
This is also Moroder brings in Harold Faltermeyer.
Yeah,
to start working with the
Harold
team.
starts as a assistant in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
It's genius, but it's kind of more commercialization than anything. He goes with Harold to L.A.
Mm-hmm.
and Harold becomes Giorgio's like producer, arranger, engineer.
Right.
In LA, using the LA musicians because they're going for more of a rock sound.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what better place to do it than there? And they're getting Steely Dan musicians, they're getting session musicians that we've talked about in the Toto episode to play and create a more rock and roll sound, and then producing that and then sending it to Germany for Giorgio to finish up. All the while, Giorgio and Pete are working on their own things, right?
Yeah.
So they're doing really like 3 projects at a time,
right?
3 or 4 at a time. While that's really cool, it's kind of a genius like business move. I'm also like, it's just a commercialization of that, right? Of disco and music at the time.
They had it down to an assembly line, like.
And that is one of the like criticisms against disco. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can see, poke a hole in my love for disco that, like, yeah, during this time, it's like, okay, guys.
Yeah.
You know, even though this is by critics, they say it's the greatest disco album of all time.
Sure.
It's universally praised that.
Yeah.
This is the peak. Yeah.
But you can see, like, we've reached this point we were talking about where by 79, like, genre has now essentially, like, in some ways become a parody of itself, you know? And the idea that, like, anything like that, when it reaches the point where you're just churning out hit after hit, and the pressure to keep doing that, right? Like, keep basically making these chart-topping songs in this genre just to kind of keep the wheels turning, like, the bubble's gonna burst, you know? And so it's not sustainable.
The business guys are all just keep doing it.
Yeah,
the money's great.
Right. That's what it is.
This is the peak.
Yep.
Just keep doing it. And Donna's like, no, I want to branch out. I want to get going. I want to do something else.
Hot Stuff was a huge.
That was her
massive
first #1 hit since.
Yeah. I Feel Love, right?
I Feel Love, yeah. Grammys nominated for Best Disco Recording, which I didn't even know that was a category ever. Wild. Best Female R&B Vocal Performance, Album of the Year, Best Female Pop Vocal. She
that was
won for Best Female Rock Vocal Performance for Hot Stuff.
And that was the first year that was a category, I think.
Rolling Stone puts it at number 23 on the Best 50 Albums by Women of All Time.
Hot Stuff that's right. That was the first year that was a category. And that album also got like 3 American Music Awards. Like, it was huge. And so this is where you see, like, as far as the trajectory she's been on, she's about to hit the pinnacle of it.
Yeah, this is the pinnacle.
Yeah. And like, because, and I'm sure you have more about this, but like, this was the most successful album by a black female artist
at the time,
until Tina Turner's Private Dancer comes out in 80, and then Whitney Houston's debut the same year. So like, those are the albums that pass it. But like, prior to that, this is like setting record for most successful album.
She did it first. Yeah.
And then you also have like, she's really like riding high coming into 1980 because her Greatest Hits comes out. She's got like a TV special.
Well, we got a lot to talk about before we get to the Greatest Hits out. The T. Okay, so while that's happening, Donna's setting records. She's breaking the glass ceiling. She's doing everything we love her to do. There's something sinister happening, and it's in us white dudes who
typically
can't. We're getting our feelings hurt, and we're causing a ruckus that hurts people, both literally and cultural. So like we said, Donna was the lady holding the torch, and there were hundreds of other records and artists in her wake.
Yep.
The disco and club scene was so huge that rock radio, as we heard Eddie in the last episode talk about, and we started out this podcast with Huey Lewis in the News saying, radio is king. Rock radio, we're switching formats from rock to disco. So whole time slots. And rock DJs were like, no, I'm not playing that stuff. So they were getting axed and getting new DJs in who would play that stuff.
Yeah.
Which to me, and this is where I have the bone to pick, these rock DJs, and I'll bleep this word out, but they're pussies. Like, they're scared to feel feelings. They're scared to play songs that make them feel things. And I think they're too scared that their tiny little dicks are too inadequate. And they'd just rather run off to their bully friends than play a fucking love song by a woman.
Yeah.
Like, that's really all it is.
This is a problem with music journalists at the time, too.
Yeah,
with
and
like
critics and
rock
everywhere.
Critics, yes. Like,
they have to have guitar and a white dude on guitar.
And I think it's also just the notion that, like, rock music, people who make rock music, that's serious music. And dance music is just frivolous, like, that's fine, like, for you to go to your club and dance, and probably, like, there's...
As long as it's there.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of sort of gay homophobic undertones to that too.
100%.
Which is like, you keep that over there. Real music is rock music, And it's funny that in a lot of ways,
minimalist rock music.
Yes, because we're in the era of like punk coming to the forefront and like reinventing what rock music is with punk and new wave. And it's like this era, we've talked about this a whole bunch, but like this kind of notion that, almost every decade has this sort of like the excess of whatever genre swells to a point where everybody's like, no more. Strip it back, make it small again.
Sure.
This happens over and over and over. And so like you get the excess of 70s like rock music.
Yeah.
Where it, gets like, I quoted this, I think, I don't know if it was last episode, but this interview with the Ramones where they're like, it was all this corporate BS of like, Kansas and Foreigner, and we just
so
were
disco
like,
was, as we just said, was kind of like that, where it's an assembly line.
Yeah.
It's just turning out hit
so it's like
hit.
they see this like swelling thing that they're just like, strip it back down.
Yeah.
This happens by the end of the 80s too, where you get like the excess of 80s rock music becomes so much that this gives birth to grunge music in the early 90s.
Yeah,
right?
Was there a riot though when that happened?
I don't know. I'd have to
in the
dig
90s.
a
I don't think kids rioted when because they wanted to throw away.
But go back to like the same
metal
thing.
Albums.
If you look at what happens by the end of the 90s, it gives birth to the garage rock movement of the early 2000s because again the excess swells to the point where they're like, take it back to its
strip
roots.
It back to minimalist and
And what's interesting though is like seeing how especially these rock DJs and music critics and people like who pull all the levers, most of them are white, most of them are male,
I'm going to name a name. This guy, one of these guys was Steve Dahl, and he's still around, weirdly, crazily enough.
Okay.
He's still around, but if I put in my notes, if ever there was a proto-orange chicken man, this be him. He hated disco for the association of the scene, and he swears it's not, but like you pull recordings, the PBS documentary pulls recordings of what he was saying on air.
Interesting.
And he hated it for the associated scene with its emphasis on personal appearance and style of dress. As part of the media, he emphasized its roots in gay culture, and according to historian Gillian Frank, Gillian? Quote, by the time of the disco demolition in Kaminsky Park, the media cultivated a widespread perception that disco was taking over. Performers who cultivated a gay image, such as the Village People, did nothing to efface these perceptions, and fears that rock music would die out increased after disco albums dominated the 21st Grammy Awards in February of '79, which is when Donna Summer won all those awards.
So it's almost like, well, we can't have that.
Yeah.
We can't have that going on.
Yeah.
We can't let them take over.
So Dahl rounds up a bunch of people. He would run, like in 77 and 78, he would round up hundreds of followers and go crash disco clubs, go crash scenes, and people would end up in the hospital. And this is all in Chicago. It leads up the fever. This fervor culminates in a doubleheader between the Chicago White Sox and the Detroit Tigers. What does a doubleheader mean?
It means you play 2 games in one day.
In one day?
Yes.
Wild.
Baseball
I guess
is
baseball,
insane
you
for a
can
number
do
of
that.
reasons, but
golf. Dahl advertised continuously leading up to the games that he was going to destroy a bunch of disco records in between the 2 games. So come on out, bring your records.
Yeah,
we're going to throw them out on the
big
field,
party
and
and
we're going to burn them. He only thought like maybe 5,000 people would show up. 50,000 people showed up. They rushed the field. They used so much explosives that there's a huge crater in the field, and the White Sox had to cancel the game, forfeit the game, which there's a whole fallout in baseball because of this too, with the White Sox and the owners of the White Sox. They had to sell. They were ostracized. Like there's the whole thing.
Can you imagine?
It's its own podcast.
Being so homophobic that you decide to destroy the Chicago White Sox as your payback against, you know what? We can't have these people out here dressing up and dancing.
Dude, yeah.
So we're going to take down this Chicago White Sox baseball team.
So there's a riot. There's people on the streets. There were bonfires, burning records, and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It was a big thing. There's documentaries about it, like we've said. Again, Rolling Stone is kind of coming out on top with this. In this episode, we're going to have a love-hate relationship. This is a love part of the Rolling Stone. Particularly critic Dave Marsh. He described the DDN, Disco Demolition Night, as, quote, your most paranoid fantasy about where the ethnic cleansing of rock radio could ultimately lead.
Interesting.
Was one at the time deemed the event an expression of bigotry, writing in a year-end 1979 feature that, quote, white males 18 to 34 are the most likely to see disco as the product of homosexuals, blacks, and Latins, and therefore they're the most likely to respond to appeals to wipe out such threats to their security. It goes almost without saying that such appeals are racist and sexist, but broadcasting has never been an especially civil libertarian medium, end quote. Great poll. Dude, I was just, 100% Dave.
That's an amazing
way to be on
the
right side of history there.
Mm-hmm.
One more quote. Political journalist Mark W. Anderson, who attended disco demolition at the age of 15, described the fear that white neighborhoods would be taken over by blacks and the anxiety around shifting pop culture trends. He wrote, quote, the chance to yell, disco sucks, meant more than simply a musical style choice. It was a chance to push back on a whole set of social dynamics that lay just beneath the surface of a minor battle between a DJ and a radio station that decided to change formats. More importantly, it was a chance for a whole lot of people to say they didn't like the way the world was changing around them, or who they saw as the potential victors in a cultural and demographic war, end quote.
Wow.
Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it sure
We'll
does.
just leave that
I wish
there.
it didn't.
We'll just lay that there.
It's just interesting how it's the way that we think that, like, your, like, you can think your taste in music is not influenced by trends, right? Or like advertising or it's the thing we have been talking about.
Dudes
I can't
on the
remember
radio, yeah.
if we talked about this on mic or not, but the fact that there was, just as of recording this within a couple weeks ago, story about how, the band Geese, a band I really enjoy. I liked their last record a lot. Getting Killed is a great record. I listened to it a ton. But about how, like, that band, leading up to that album, they'd made several records. They'd played a lot, in New York area where they're from, built a following, toured, like, got really good, worked really hard. And then it seemed like they blew up organically. Like, suddenly, this is their big break.
Everybody was talking about it.
Yeah, and it's like, good for them. They did it. And then the story comes out that, like,
it was their PR firm.
Correct, that made it happen. And I'm not throwing any shade because
their PR firm
it's like,
made thousands of accounts,
correct,
fake accounts that just reposted stuff
and
just
went in comment threads, and and they said that's what we get hired to do. That's how we market these days. That's the way you infiltrate social media, and you train an algorithm to eventually. It's like if you inject enough content, it just starts to perpetuate itself.
So on our next episode, when you see 5,000 comments on our post about it, it's all just me going, "Yep."
And at least one in there will be
how
like,
about that, Scotty, huh?
It'll be like, The Deep is the greatest film ever made. Yeah. But like,
Deep Inside Me is about love, you idiot.
Has nothing to do with, I was going to say the
it's
eel
not sexual
going deep,
at all.
But never mind. No. The idea that, like, you think you're, what you are paying attention to, especially with music in trends, is like that you're immune to it. There's always somebody's influence sort of shaping the direction and narrative that these things go.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that there's never an artist or band or whoever that breaks through organically.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean that that's necessarily bad.
No.
Here's the thing
you play
that
the
is
game,
bad.
Right?
Here's the thing, and Ronnie Chung, he's an Asian American comedian, has a great thing about this, is that you hear the thing, you see the hashtag, you yell the disco sucks or let's go Brandon or whatever.
Yep.
But you need to take it the next step, which is the required reading behind that. Right? Like, what does the hashtag mean? What does it stand for? Who are the people behind it? You need to put some critical thought into it. And hopefully we're doing that with this podcast.
Yeah.
Because being part of the media now, as we're putting out content, is we have this responsibility to do that.
And being more white dudes doing that, right?
Yeah.
Like telling these stories. But I think that, like, even that, right?
You hear the exhaustion of, exhaustion of other white dudes not doing that.
Yeah.
Of a specific bald, short dude who thinks he's really tough. Ro Jogan. His name rhymes with that. Bo Rogaine. You need to take the next step and have some critical thought and find out for yourself what you actually like.
Well, especially because people that are trying to convince you, they
just want your money.
Well, and they're like the people that are trying to influence the direction that thought goes. They're reading, like, what's behind that. You need to know why they want you to think that way. Because sometimes it is just, we're trying to push this band because they paid us to do that, right? Their label said, here's money, make this band popular.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, we're trying to push an entire political movement into a direction that we want it to go.
Now, Steve Dahl doesn't say he's doing that, but he did it.
Yeah.
And he made fun of, Van McCoy, disco guy.
Okay.
I forget what song he did, but I know it, but it's really good. He died. He passed away during this time. And then Steve Dahl goes on the air and breaks his record and makes fun of Steve Dahl on the air. And I'm like, wow, that also sounds familiar. Mm-hmm. If there's a proto-Orange Chicken Man. What does all this have to do with Donna? Should we move on from our tirade a little bit?
Well, this is good because this puts us, again, like we talked about how this is all culturally happening, right?
Yeah,
so
I wanted to get
movement,
that in there. It's important.
Definitely.
It makes this like a 2.5 hour long podcast, but it's important to know what is happening at the time and where this record stands during that time, and why Donna is already it makes her a genius because 2 years before this, she's already thinking of
starting to move ahead.
Why? And that's why Hot Stuff is so big, is because it's a little bit more of a departure from the disco formula.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rock record,
and it's already going that way.
As we were saying, like, to be somebody who is burnt out from working nonstop, feeling the like, I don't really want to carry this image I've had anymore. That, again, was really just a role to inhabit, but was not even chosen by me necessarily. It just was the machine rolling, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to be seen as more of a songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this, she's depressed. Like
she's depressed. And during this time, another white guy comes and sees her, and she becomes born again Christian.
Mm-hmm.
She becomes a Christian again.
And that becomes huge for like everything that happens after.
Yeah.
But yes, and
she also meets a young, short king by the name of David Geffen.
Yes.
Another guy.
I was going to say, enter
the third guy
David
we should
Geffen.
have in this podcast that we should have is his own podcast.
Yeah, because his
during
his
the
career,
70s, Asylum
pillar.
Records is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Asylum Records pulls like every big name you can name. And then he sells it and he becomes Geffen Records.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just him.
Yeah, the Geffen
Midway
Record
through
group,
the 70s, he also becomes co-chairman of Warner Brothers Records. So he's connected in there. He's tangentially related to Jaws, as we've already discussed that movie in this podcast.
Yeah.
But it's wild. He forms a new label, Geffen Records, in 1980.
Yep. And according to this, like they're promoting the Bad Girls album.
Yes.
Summer again is collaborating with Barbra Streisand.
Oh, okay.
On a composition by Paul Jabara called No More Tears.
Okay.
Enough is Enough. And it was released on an album called Wet by Streisand.
Okay.
And around the same time, Summer was trying to put out Dim All the Lights, which was like the first like just solo composition of her career.
Okay.
Song
Yeah.
she'd written just by herself. And this is, again, she's trying to build a reputation as a songwriter.
Yeah.
And wants that, like, I don't want to just be the face of this movement.
I'm remembering an anecdote where she wrote a song and it was going to be, she wanted it to be for Cher. She
yes.
wrote it in her mind for Cher.
Right.
And Neil bagged it.
Yeah.
And bagged it for like years, for 2 or 3 years.
Apparently, like around this time, so Neil Bogart, who's Casablanca Records
What
president.
an accountant name too, Neil Bogart. Yeah. But
he just didn't want to push her song. He wanted to do the one that the Barbra Streisand collaboration. But they both end up becoming hits. They both appeared in the top 5 of like the Billboard charts at the same time. Dim All the Lights, which was Summer's song, okay, peaked at number 2, and the Barbra Streisand one peaked at number 1. And so, Summer, like it says, she achieved this, historic feat. She becomes first female artist again to have 3 number 1 singles in a calendar year, and having recorded 7 consecutive top 10 hits by then. But she was just angry that Bogart wouldn't like promote her song, and like push it to the number 1 slot. Like if he had chosen her over the Streisand song, it probably would have peaked at number 1.
Put some payola behind it.
Yeah. So that was kind of the beginning of her rift and wanting out of that contract and being done with Casablanca.
Well, and then she meets Dave.
Yeah.
And Dave is like, David Geffen, Dave is like,
Good
hey,
old Dave.
I love you.
Our pal.
I love you. If you come and sign with me, you will have 100% artistic freedom.
Do whatever you want.
That's pretty tempting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with the fact that, at this point in time, she seemed to really want the freedom to kind of make whatever record she wanted to make.
So she becomes the first recording artist on Geffen Records. I mean, Geffen, dude, Davey G, good old Davey G.
Davey G.
We need to talk about him in future episodes.
He'll come
absolutely
up a
will, because he goes on to sign and release John Lennon, Yoko Ono, The Double Fantasy, finds Wang Chung. He signs solo artist Don Henley. Elton
he's
John
the one
comes
that
in,
was
Peter Gabriel.
He went to Wang Chung that night.
He was having fun that night.
Is he the first one to Wang Chung that night?
I think so.
Okay.
So Donna goes to make a new record,
and Casablanca puts out her greatest hits album.
David really wanted to rush this album because Casablanca is releasing greatest hits album like one a month. There's like 4 that they're trying to release like one a month. And David's like, dude, we got to do something about this, like quick. We got to get the heat off. Also, Donna sues Casablanca.
It's like a $10 million lawsuit.
Yeah, she ends up spending way more than that. It's wild. It takes like 4 years. Anyways, Scotty, let's play a quick game.
I'm ready.
This is a fun game.
I love games.
We discussed all this about how Donna wanted to change. She wanted more rock and new wave direction.
a theme
we said she recently renewed her faith in Christianity. Maybe she wanted to go back to her roots a little bit. Who would you, if you were David Geffen and Donna Summer, and you were like, okay, we want to make a break, clean break, we need to release something quick, who would you hire as a producer?
At this moment in time?
Yeah. Like take in mind all this we're talking about with cultural, like
probably
all this.
Quincy Jones.
That's so funny. Cool. Because that was initially my thought. And then I had to sit and I had to think. And I was like, no, I would want somebody who's actually rock and roll.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Bob Clearmountain was my thought.
Okay.
That would be in a weird alternate reality. That would be, he was doing Tina Turner. He produced Tina Turner's big hit, right? And he was doing Hall & Oates during the 70s, and he was doing The Pretenders is another one. And so he was more based out of New York and was more of like that kind of grungy, interesting. And so that would be an interesting direction for Donna to go.
Completely.
Right?
Well, especially with the way that Tina Turner becomes like, the queen of rock and roll from then on, right? Like Tina Turner's whole career goes like straight up into that.
And so that was why movement. I was like, man, Quincy would be interesting. And that was David Geffen's, because the album after The Wanderer is produced by Quincy Jones.
Of course.
And it's so bad they shelve it.
Yeah, interesting. Well,
and I didn't know that. I didn't know that when I asked myself this question, but I was thinking like, man, Quincy would be really good, but I still feel like maybe the artist in me is like, I would want somebody to push Donna in that direction. And Quincy, for that record, did. Donna says it was the hardest she's ever worked in her life. She was also pregnant with her third baby, anyways, with a baby. And
so that's what, 84?
That's 81, because it's the one right after
the one
The
right
Wanderer.
after, in between.
But they shelve it. It doesn't come out until the 2015s or 2016s or whatever, because Hot Stuff charts again because of The Martian.
Yes, it
charts again, and so the Universal or whoever the conglomerate that owns all her stuff now was like, we gotta release.
Yeah, jump on it.
Oh, and there's an album that's never been released. Sweet, let's put it out. Oh, it's terrible.
Right,
oh,
while
shoot.
the iron's hot.
But it says Quincy
Jones
on it, and he does her next album too, which does terrible. Donna Summer.
Yeah,
the one with self-titled, and that one charts a little bit, and that's what causes. This is beyond.
But no, that's an interesting.
But then she leaves David. It causes
experiment. Yeah,
causes Geffen to drop her, and then she hires Michael O'Martian on Mercury Records, and she has the huge hit.
Yeah.
O'Martian, not O'Martian.
But I like O'Martian actually. Petition to change his name to Michael O'Martian, please.
That's his nickname from now on. Just Mom for short.
I think I mentioned on the Toto episode that I met him one time, because my dad was obsessed with Michael O'Martian, and we went to.
We're 1-2 degrees of Kevin Bacon away from Donna Summer.
From Donna Summer.
Damn.
We went to a performance that he was there because it was an album that he had produced, and it was like a concert of some of his music, and my dad was weird about I need to meet him, so he's hanging out by the stage trying to just catch him, talk to him, you know. And finally,
that's my nightmare.
Oh yeah.
Ugh,
but he finally got his attention and just told him how much his production and music has meant to him. Then he invited us to come backstage.
No way.
And
cool.
hang out for a little bit. It was crazy. Yeah. He was just like, well, yeah, come here.
Yeah.
And what I remember is it was my family was there, but my aunt was with us.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kept he's like, okay, is everybody with us? He'd met everybody by name. He kept going, Carlene, is Carlene back there? We got Carlene. Where's Carlene? All right, come on,
Genius.
everybody. It was
Great
really
dude.
funny.
That's hilarious.
So that comes up fairly often with,
where's Carlene?
Where's Carlene? Michael O'Martian's asking where Carlene is.
Donna Summer chooses Giorgio and Pete.
The tried and true
team.
Method.
Her safe space, I think that's a good idea, but looking at their schedules, this is why it's nuts, because Pete is working on an Elton John. He's sequestered with Elton John up in the mountains. Giorgio's working on 3 projects.
Mm-hmm.
Faltermeyer is working on 3 projects in LA. The assembly line's churning. Looking at their schedules and everything, and I'm like, how did they do this?
Yeah.
Well, they did it because Donna was like, hey, I need a new album. And they're like, all right, Donna, we love you.
Yep.
You're the queen of our hearts. and we'll make time for it and we'll do it.
Well, and even Pete was like, we wish we had more time, like, to produce.
Oh, everybody. Harold and Pete.
So,
and
like...
it was just so rushed. Geffen, was wanting it right away. So the production of this album, in Lukather's memoir, he says that they recorded every track for this album 3 or 4 different ways in 3 or 4 different keys, and that they did it by section. They would do a verse, and then they would do that verse a step up, and then they do it a step down from the original, just in case. And then they would do it with like a different drum beat, and then...
Yeah, so like a totally different feel and arrangement.
And a totally different feel and arrangement. And then they would do that, a key up and a key down. And then they would do one where they just went nuts.
Yeah.
And they would just play whatever you feel like.
Experiment,
see what happens. And then that was that, just a verse. And then they'd cut the tape, and then they'd send it off to Germany, right? And then everything was just pieced together by Giorgio and Pete in Germany when they had time.
Yeah, interesting.
And that's such a weird way for me as a musician. I'm just like, well,
it seems very non-committal for like, we don't know what we want these songs to be. We don't have like a clear vision for how the record's going to be. So we're just going to see what works the best.
And so knowing that, there are bits.
We'll fix it in the edit.
Yeah, there are bits where like, oh, this verse is amazing. Other songs, and we'll talk about it in the Bangers and Duds section, where the whole song is just this one bit.
Yeah,
and
totally.
they just didn't know what to do,
right.
And they didn't have time to work on it and like find the next step for it. But
you can hear it.
Yeah,
I think sometimes the notion that even with really like great well-known records, that the band goes in with a really clear idea of what they want to make and direction and everything, can be easily dispelled by actually reading about the production of the album. And seeing how many bands like, oh, we tried to record this album first in this studio. It didn't work. We scrapped the whole thing, went somewhere else and started over. Or this song that became like the big hit, we almost didn't even include it or record it because, somebody in the band was like, nah, this sucks. And some producer's like, no, let's do that one, Or somebody was, like some bit of technology that they're like, oh my gosh, this amp broke in the middle of making, the record, and we didn't realize until we played the tracks back, and, we were terrified, oh no, like it's going to sound awful, and then it's an iconic sound or something, It's just funny to like look at any recording process of making a record and seeing things like that, where it's like, even the people making it were like, we had no idea what this would turn out to be. Like recording the songs, we didn't know.
Yeah.
It could have been anything.
It turns out our newbie tape engineer did it backwards and played a section backwards, and is that how we found out about gated reverb or something?
Oh, cool,
Yeah. So this brings us to The Wanderer, the one we gathered. We just spent 2.5 hours or 2 hours leading up to. Again, Harold Faltermeyer is a guy who will come up in everything.
Yeah.
Almost. He's everywhere in the 80s.
Apparently met Moroder working on a film score together.
Yeah, and he becomes like number one assistant. Yeah.
He's the one that wrote the Top Gun anthem.
Yep.
Beverly Hills Cop theme.
Axel F.
Yep. And then he and Moroder both work on Top Gun, because Moroder co-writes Danger Zone and Take My Breath Away. Yeah. That's interesting that
Take My Breath Away is the bigger hit.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
It is interesting.
Because Danger Zone was supposed to be the hit. That's why
big,
it's number one. But Take My Breath Away was...
Danger Zone is such a goofy...
It's so funny.
It is.
It doesn't make any
song.
sense.
No. Highway to...
I always thought it was The Days of Thunder.
Oh, interesting.
I thought it was from that.
It would make
movie.
more sense, honestly.
Yeah. Highway to... Yeah. Other notable dudes include, we've already mentioned him, Steve Lukather, Jeff, quote, Skunk Baxter. He's guitarist, producer of Steely Dan fam. He's in there. Our buddy Drew looks kind of like him with the mustache and the hair and or is it the other way around? Like
reincarnation, maybe?
Yeah, reincarnation. Leland Sklar, most recorded bass player of all time. You can check out the Section documentary. He will show up a lot in everything we talk about, especially when we get to Phil Collins. That's going to be fun.
Keith Forsey
on drums. He goes on to be the producer for Billy Idol. And he produces Flashdance, the soundtrack for the movie. Sylvester LeVay. Do you know who he is?
I don't.
Another member of the Munich Machine, and he did his big hit is the soundtrack for Scarface.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
A lot of names on this record.
I thought
dude.
it was cool to see Bill Champlin just hanging out singing background vocals, who goes on to sing with Chicago and was, Grammy award winning songwriter and lots
producer
of
and
just
arranger.
People that just show up on projects like this all through this era.
And like we've talked about, this record is very formative for all these dudes because this is where they're taking disco and dance music and melding it and forming pop hits. And this is the groundwork for that, the prototype for that, where they're like, there's something there to it. Toto is doing it. So we all these other guys are figuring it out and massaging it. If they had another couple months, I think they could make it a huge hit.
Sure. It's funny that even the title track is the highest charting song from this album, and it doesn't even...
Isn't it Cold Love is?
I thought The Wanderer was maybe... Let me see.
Cold Love is the one that got the Grammy nom. I know that. Yeah, but maybe The Wanderer is the highest charting one.
You read, this is a theme we keep touching on, but they're trying to sound, they want it to be more of a rock, and it leads off with this song The Wanderer, which again sounds like a throwback.
It's like a blues
rock
it's a
and
blues
roll,
riff, yeah,
but with synth bass, and so which that synth
and
bass is,
a weird gated reverb on her voice and all this stuff.
Yeah
That
synth bass is all over this record.
It's great.
There's only maybe 3 songs that have an actual bass guitar, and the rest of it's that synth bass all over.
Yep, which I think they overdub over Leland Sklar's bass lines to do that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they have him write the stuff, and then he's like, okay, I guess that's what I got.
Yeah. Okay, so it looks like the title track did make it to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Yeah, it does. It still goes platinum.
But none of the other ones.
Not platinum, gold. It still goes gold.
Yeah. I think it only sells 600,000 copies.
That's still gold.
It's crazy.
None of her albums don't go gold.
No, the metric is broken.
Mm-hmm.
It's just when you come off of the run that she just had.
Yeah, Bad Girl. Yeah,
and especially the last 2 years.
Hot stuff.
Mm-hmm. Where you've got the greatest hits albums that are competing, and then of course the Bad Girls album, it looks like a flop, but the fact that again you're looking at this pivot where it's okay, we kind of started experimenting with this on Bad Girls, but trying to just do every song is a new experiment, and that's what's kind of fun about listening through this whole thing.
Yeah.
And you can hear again it's funny to think of a different producer trying to help her craft a rock sound, because if you think about Moroder goes on to co-write Danger Zone with Kenny Loggins, that song gives a very rock riff kind of song.
Yeah. But that's in 85 and 80.
Sure.
That's
but
further
it's that's
down.
the trajectory he's going to wind up on, because everybody's adapting to move forward into this decade, And the thing is though, this same year, I was listening to the song on here, Nightlife, which I thought was kind of a cool, on the back half of the record. I like that one. We'll talk more about it in the Bangers and Duds section. But if you listen to the melody of that song, the feel is very different. But the melody, I was like, this reminds me of Blondie's Call Me. And guess who wrote Blondie's Call Me? Giorgio Moroder.
Yep.
Comes out the same year.
Yep.
He's a genius producer also, whose mind is already in this stuff.
The thing about that though is Call Me works because there's the band.
Oh yeah, they're a rock.
Is a
band.
rock band from New York.
Yeah.
And so this is where I was thinking with the Bob Clearmountain is going take a more rock, grimy guy. Not grimy in terms of he never takes a shower, but
I don't know anything. Maybe he doesn't.
Maybe he does.
Maybe that's part of the magic. You can't.
Maybe that's why they named him the Pretenders. They had to pretend to like this guy.
Yeah.
To
pretend. Yeah, that he didn't smell bad all the time.
Yeah, they had to so it needed to be farther that way, more grimy, more rock, more minimalist, with a synthesizer. Right? And then, whereas with Nightlife, it was mostly synths with some backing.
There's a rock riff that's in there.
Yeah. We could just go straight into Bangers and Duds.
Let's do it, because I'm ready to talk about songs.
We're going to talk about songs. Big point is that Donna is a chameleon.
Playing roles, like you said.
Playing roles. She's going every which way, and so as an album as a whole, it kind of is a weird one to talk about because it's every song is different, and she doesn't know which way to go, and
it is all over the place.
It's kind of amazing, to be honest, that wow, she's really showcasing her art,
like her versatility.
I do want to. Oh man, let's talk about the songs real quick. Bangers, top 3.
My top 3. I really like the second track. I like Looking Up.
Okay, cool.
I like the groove on that one a lot. I think it's one of those tracks that like
that's my second one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That one comes in hot and is just like
it's great.
I just really get into the groove. I think it's super cool. I really like Running for Cover. It's got a great like I like the way that the feel changes kind of back and forth. From like a halftime to double time is really cool, and then it's just got a classic Steve Lukather guitar solo in there. Okay, there's a really like it's quick. Yeah, get in, get out, but it's like you're just like little injection of Lukather.
Hey, let's rock.
Her vocal on that is awesome too. On
like, and that's the thing is like she's delivering 100% every song.
Oh yeah,
it's great.
Committed to the whole thing.
Just as a whole, as a package, it just weirdly it doesn't work.
And then I would say it's funny because both of these started off as like, I don't know. And then the more I listened to them, I really liked them, was both Who Do You Think You're Fooling and Nightlife. I think are both fun.
Interesting.
Nightlife takes for me, it edges it out just a little because it has the cool breakdown section at the end.
Yeah.
Where the band starts out with a little like kind of stripped down riff and you hear the percussion in the background answer and then it like builds back up.
I think that's one of the parts where they experimented.
They didn't know how it was going to turn out.
And they just like, they were like, okay, let's do it. I'm tired of doing this in different keys and let's just experiment and have fun.
Who Do You Think You're Fooling to me feels like that's where I think there are some songs every now and then where you can hear the musical theater background, where it's like that song goes from kind of minor key to a big major chorus, builds up to that, you're a star, like it's really fun. It reminds me a little bit of like, I don't know if Prince was a big Donna Summer fan, but reminds me of a couple of the songs that he'll have, he
had to have listened to it.
I'm sure. Yeah, like I liked the comp. That's my honorable mention.
Yeah.
I think.
My top one is Cold Love.
It's a great song.
The second we listened to that when we were figuring out what album, I was like, this is what Michael Jackson based his whole career off of almost. Was this song.
It was immediate that like
both our faces are just like, what?
We're like, this is black and white. Like that's what okay, so I love the gated, like dry gated snare drum, like drum machine sound they use at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because it's so weird. It sounds so with no like verb or anything on it. It just feels so like close to you, but it's like that really hard like kind of sound.
Yeah.
Like I think that sets it up in such a like it kind of gets your attention right from the beginning.
Yep.
And then that little guitar riff, which is so you kind of go, oh yeah, that's
Lukather. Yeah, that's what it. Yeah.
Yep.
That's everything. Looking Up was my second one. We talked about that.
It's so good.
Okay.
What's your third?
Hear me, just like.
Okay, I'm ready.
Don't ask too much. Don't ask too many questions because I'm also going to talk about it in my duds.
Okay.
Breakdown.
I really like Breakdown.
It is the catchiest earworm I've had. I've had it stuck in my brain for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
like week.
That synth bass
and it's not Michael McDonald. It sure sounds like it, but it's not. And you can hear the Christopher Cross like influence on it.
Oh yeah,
right. Like the Michael McDonald classic, whatever song that is, I forget. Anyway, Christopher Cross is going to be here in July.
You gonna go?
There's like 4 tickets available, and they're like $500.
Yeah.
And I can't. Yeah. I can't justify that. Yeah. It almost sold out like instantly. Otherwise, I would love to go. Okay, duds. My top one was Nightlife. It feels cheesy. It feels like
I like it.
It feels like they were trying, like what we talked about. It was trying to be Blondie or whatever.
Oh,
but
totally.
There's too much synth stuff on it.
It is interesting though. Go listen to.
Not Nightlife. Stop Me, which is my second one. Nightlife feels cheesy, but yeah.
To our listeners, listen to Nightlife, then go put on Call Me by Blondie. Again, the feel's very different. The Blondie song has that like triplet kind of like shuffle kind of feel all the way through it, right? But
I think we're talking about Stop Me.
No, I'm talking about Nightlife.
Nightlife. Yep.
But the melody, you can hear the similarity in the melody, and that's where I was like, I went and looked it up, and lo and behold, was like, oh, there's Giorgio on both tracks. Okay, so
my third. Then my third is Breakdown.
Third dead.
I hate it.
That it's stuck in your brain.
It's stuck in my brain, but they made the song like the riff, the whole song.
It is the whole song.
Yeah, and
it's a catchy riff, but it's the entire song. And that's kind of the disco thing coming back, right?
You're like it's like you're getting beat over the head with it, and it's just.
Breakdown.
But then when you wake up tomorrow, when I wake up from being asleep, it's gonna be in my brain.
I've got that synth bass, just like
yeah.
Yeah. Didn't I tell you it feels like a training montage from a movie?
100%.
Yeah. Like where
But you can
somebody's
see where Giorgio's
growth.
mind is at, and Harold. They're writing for film, and they're getting out of that record producing, and they're going into film
drama.
Yeah.
See, that's great because
we're gonna tell a story.
I can listen to that song when I go for a walk and feel like I've really grown as a person by the time I get home. You know what I mean? And I only have to do. It's only 4 minutes long. So
you got more muscles now.
It's great. More muscles, more wisdom.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to react so strongly if somebody's like mad at me. You know what I mean? I'm just I've grown.
Yep.
Okay, so duds for me. I don't love the title track, the lead off.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think that the vocal's a little weird. The mix is weird to me.
I'm the wonder.
Yeah, I think if it would mix differently, if the vocal weren't so hot in that mix and everything else kind of pushed to the back. And that's one of the songs where I feel like if you're going to pull from that old rock and roll R&B kind of feel with the walking bass line, use a real bass in there. That synth bass just does not work.
It's weird.
It's like and I'm just like I don't love it.
Yeah.
Grand Illusion to me is also just that's a song that feels completely it's an experiment, and I think I respect the swing that it takes because like it's got some like, you know, the same kind of things that you'll hear, like those sort of loops and eerie synths that like Peter Gabriel's going to do a lot with over the next couple of years, you know. But it just doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like, well, here's an idea, and then kind of a chorus, and then we get back to the idea. It's like, so that one I'm not a fan of. And then Stop Me. I was like,
yeah,
that one. I kind of after
terrible.
listening through it once, I was like, yeah, I got it.
Yep, terrible.
You know, I do feel like okay. Before we move on though, but from songs, we got to talk about I Believe in Jesus because this is just such an interesting thing to have. Like again, it's very clear she's trying now that she's got creative freedom to make a statement about like I'm trying to move away from Lady of Love, the Queen of Disco, the sexy, all that kind of stuff. I've become a born again Christian, so I'm going to declare it. And it's kind of like there's a lot of themes of this throughout even Running for Cover has a lot of mentions of like, you got to be careful because like the devil's in the park. And you can tell it seems like maybe she's singing a little bit about like when she was being stalked by people. You know what I mean? Like that feels like it's very like a part of that song, right? Yeah, like this is a very blatant, like we're closing this album with a gospel song, like an 80s.
Don't worry, all you Disco Sucks fan, I'm not a disco person anymore. Don't worry, all you Christians, I'm not a lady of the night anymore. Like, I am this now.
I'm a rock and roller and a gospel artist. Like,
well, she does receive a nomination for Best Inspirational Performance.
Yes.
Again, a category no idea exists.
I don't think it
How do you
exists.
judge
I don't know how many years that can you look that up? How many years that category existed at the Grammys? I'm curious. Yeah, like it's an okay song.
62 to 86.
How funny.
Several name changers, best gospel, best sacred performance.
Oh, I see. So they're trying to find a way to brand
non-classical,
gospel,
best
Christian.
inspirational,
Huh. Inspirational is what it becomes in the end.
86. Yeah, that was the last one.
So, like the choir sounds good on that one, her vocal performance. I actually like the lyric that she says basically like, I'm sure I'm going to heaven because I've already been through hell. Like that feels like a very lived in line for kind of what she's been through in her life, I guess,
This is also the first album that she had full control of the album art.
Interesting. So she's not like, I got to be the sexy.
So if we look at the album art,
it
is also pretty much sets the stage for what the fashion of the 80s would kind of be, right?
It's pretty cool.
It's hot pink and black.
Yes. She's got leg warmers.
It's got leg warmers.
Whoa.
Tights. She's got
the
big
tights
hair.
are hot pink striped.
Yeah, with blue, like teal and hot pink.
She's wearing like a dressing, like a robe.
An oversized robe dressing. Yeah, the only skin she's really feeling is her feet. So those feet guys can get some of that action.
Her sleeves are rolled up.
Sleeves are like, it's the like.
She's got the suitcases.
Hot neon chick thing that becomes the prototypical 80s almost.
Very 80s.
Right? And this is before the 80s. So it's like even then she's setting like fashion standards, I guess.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know. Because in my mind, when I think 80s, that's what I think.
Yeah.
When people show up to the Star Court, but 80s nights.
Totally.
And they're wearing leotards and all of that sort of stuff. This
Leg
is
warmers.
where this comes from. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As we've already said, this was not a huge successful record for her. It went gold, of course, because they all did. But, you know, like, she doesn't have, like, even Cold Love doesn't crack the top 10.
No.
And the other single, well, Who Do You Think You're Fooling? Like, neither of them cracked the top 10. The title track makes it to number 3.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't repeat her success, and she won't until 83.
Until she's off of Geffen Records, yeah.
She's done with Geffen by 83?
She does...
When Working Hard for Your Money comes out?
Yes. She does 2 more albums, both with Quincy Jones. The first one shelved.
Oh, she's on Mercury by then.
And then the second one is the self-titled, which is Quincy Jones, which is a good, interesting record. And we'll talk about this more when we talk about Work Hard for the Money.
Yeah.
And where all that sort of stuff came from.
When we dive into the career of Michael O'Martian.
Yeah, Mom.
Carlene?
Where is she? Is she here? But yeah, she gets off Geffen. So this is hearsay, but everybody who's talked about David Geffen that I can find throws this in there, that it was well known in the industry that he was gay. He was a closeted gay dude. I don't know because I don't know him. So maybe, but it makes sense why he would offer all this to Donna. And then her first album doesn't do very well. They shelved the second album. The Quincy Jones, he finally was like, no, we got to have a hit. We have to have a producer, and it's going to be Quincy because he's the hit maker. And that's why I was like, that's so funny that you would choose him, because like that seems like an obvious thing. Does that make sense? Like, again, that was where my mind went first, was like, Quincy Jones.
If you have somebody like Donna Summer who's coming off of this crazy disco run, and you're thinking, who do I pair this person with to keep their career to take them to the next level? You think, who just produced for Michael Jackson that like crossed over from disco to pop and is like, moving in, like, that's the obvious choice.
But if you listen to Off the Wall, it's still a disco album.
Oh, it's very disco. Very, very. It's the tail end of like, yes.
There's just a little bit more experimentation of like rhythms in there and stuff, which was rhythms. Yeah, that's where my mind would bend. And it's like, if you didn't want to do work, you would just do Quincy Jones.
Quincy was also the one who was
more...
My
mind is like, no, let's push.
Yeah.
Let's push a little bit and go, maybe not Bob Clear Mountain, but somebody who's a little bit more rock and roll, who can maybe work with Donna and push her a little bit to go more rock, more Tina Turner-y, and see what happens. I would probably be wrong, but
it's interesting to capture and look at this little period of time, just because this, is like somebody trying to wrestle creative control for the first time for themselves. And it's not like they fail at it or anything. No, it's just, it's also a major turning point in the industry and like in trending sounds and whatever else. Like, you actually, like, you can hear all of it, like, especially on this record. And I think that's what makes it kind of a, like, not just a fun listen, but makes it important for her career, because like, if you're going to, like, if we were a podcast that was just going to be like, hey, let's look at the best records that every artist has done, right?
Yeah.
We would probably be looking at Bad Girls and talking about that for, like, being, again, like maybe the greatest quote unquote disco record ever made. Our parameters being set, we get to actually like dive into a record that, again, is mostly forgotten at this point, but has so much value to it because of what you can hear.
I would call this a deep cut episode.
For sure.
Yeah. Maybe we'll put that in the title.
Cuts. I just really enjoyed like digging into this and, kind of finding, like, if you actually are looking at, somebody's career where you see specific pivot points, this would be it.
This is a huge one.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think you can also tell that, I don't know, she seems pretty happy making this record. You know what I mean? Like, after kind of all the other hitting that point in her fame, but feeling like a little empty and depressed about it and where she was and like what's shifting culturally, like, she seems pretty happy, and it's kind of fun to hear that.
It's great. I love it. Yeah. And
that's why I'm not going to knock like, or say that like I Believe in Jesus is like a super corny track, because it feels earned. And
she believes what she's saying,
and
if she's acting, she's doing a damn good job of doing it, right?
Exactly. Like, Rolling Stone called this her best work. up to that point in their review.
Yeah.
They said by far
this
they're
album and our love-hate relationship with critics and Rolling Stone magazine. I will always hate the Rolling Stone band, but I just had to do.
We just have to make it clear every episode that we don't like the Rolling Stones.
Just remind people. Yeah, I 100% agree with that, and I'm so glad we found this album in our basket of albums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They called it. They definitely love that she's pivoting toward rock music because again, that's real music. So thank goodness. The review actually just says you can hear the honesty in what she's trying to communicate.
For sure.
Even when it's not working.
Yeah.
It's like there's something real in there.
Even with our criticisms with the band, there is still something. There's a gem of something there that even if you don't like Breakdown, there's still something there that is interesting. And is a mind worm, is a.
I just stopped thinking about it now. Yep, it's back. It's back in there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You very much.
This is why we were so excited about it, because this is establishes the base from which almost every artist and all these people that she worked with, they use this experience to build the next hits.
Yeah.
You know?
And it.
Billy Idol, all these crazy people who are like, oh, what they learned from this is that I didn't go rock hard enough.
Sure.
And so they were just like, oh, well, let's just go rock and then throw a synthesizer over it.
What's funny is you also have bands like Blondie and even Billy Idol who are there's still like a pop sheen over their biggest hits that crosses them over. And there's also like a kind of danceability to the groove, so it's not like they're completely eschewing, or at least not like whoever is producing the records, what came before. As much as people want to say disco sucks, they also still want to
disco
dance
disco
a
is
bit,
not dead.
No, it
disco
persists.
is alive.
It persists.
And it is the bedrock of every dance track out there from disco times.
And especially
it's just switched a little bit.
The last few years in pop music, I'd say the last maybe decade and a half, there has been a shift back to those kind of glossy dance, but disco, purposed disco.
Well, I would say
records,
we mentioned them. Daft Punk did it with
Random Access Memories was a huge pivot point back toward that.
They brought back Nile Rodgers. They brought I had never known who Nile Rodgers was. I knew Chic and Bernard.
Sure.
I always forget his last name. Edwards. Yeah, the bass player, because I knew him. That's where Another One Bites the Dust and all that comes from.
Well,
but it's I didn't know how big Nile Rodgers was.
Like I said, now go listen to that Marauder song and know what record he was talking about. Is a Donna Summer record. Yep. Which is just...
It's amazing.
We just did this chart 2 episodes ago, because this is the same year-end chart for Billy Joel. And, the record's not... It doesn't
Yeah, it doesn't really do much.
No, it's not going to be
besides 500,000, but...
Yeah, but just a reminder, if you look at the top... We won't do the singles, but just, your top 10, year-end top 10 records are Pink Floyd, The Wall, Eagles, The Long Run, Michael Jackson's Off the Wall, all 3 of which so far were released the year before, so charting into 80, but these are all 79 releases. And then our good friend Billy Joel, your buddy and mine, Glass Houses.
That's another thought, is what if we got Billy Joel's band and Donna Summer with Giorgio Moroder? That might be something.
Maybe she'd think the same way that Billy did about getting Elton John's band to make his record.
She'd probably be like,
gonna work.
Yeah. I don't know, but they're that... I just really love Liberty DeVito. I love that drummer.
Well, he is pretty awesome.
He's a great dude.
He's so fun in that documentary.
Yeah, he's the greatest.
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Damn the Torpedoes is at number 5. Bob Seger, Against the Wind, number 6, which we were
that was on the short list for this episode. Yeah, we might do it next, but don't know.
Pat Benatar, In the Heat of the Night. Blondie, Eat to the Beat.
Maybe we do Blondie next.
We should talk about Blondie.
Yeah.
Zeppelin's In Through the Outdoor, which again, these are the last 3 of these are 79 releases, and then Kenny Rogers, Kenny,
just old Kenny. No Rita.
No, just Kenny. But
they were deep in the feud.
See, and that's interesting too, that you've got Off the Wall still going strong, huge record,
and then country and western at the same
time, but very disco.
Yeah,
and country western. You've got some new wave, with Pat Benatar and Blondie. You've got some like old rockers at this point, Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, like you know,
so old they're in their 30s.
These
40s.
guys have been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah, dude, if you think about that too, Donna Summer when she made The Wanderer was 31. What a wild 20s.
Well, you think about the last half of her 20s, how much she's doing.
Yeah, and how much she's working and the hits she's putting out. People I don't think people give enough credit to this time period, you know, when you think about what they were doing and what they did and how young they were.
Yep.
And, you know. So, well, thank you so much for listening. I don't have anything else. I'm pretty exhausted about it.
Go listen to this record and give it some love because it's fun.
We would love some feedback about what we want to do next. What would you like us to do next?
Maybe put on also.
Instagram.
I mean, you know, put on Breakdown and go for a walk and see if you grow as a person. In that 4 minutes.
Go on a training montage.
Yeah.
In your mind.
But yes, please, we're on the socials, so...
Yeah, Instagram is our big one, and ydrcpodcast@gmail.com.
Send us some feedback.
I read everything everybody writes and DMs and try to respond, but also we'll have another listener feedback episode coming out soon. And we love you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much.